Welcome to this story on education innovation. I'd like to introduce you to Hanli Dippenaar. She's from the Faculty of Education. Enjoy this journey with us.
My name is Hanli Dippenaar and I'm the lecturer involved with JTK 200, which is Language Across the Curriculum. This course is a compulsory course for all the second year student teachers. There are between 500 and 600 students in my class, and the course aims to enhance language across the curriculum as a medium of instruction, where the motto is that every teacher is a language teacher. Student teachers in JTK 200 need to get the opportunity to use English in the classroom and also outside the classroom. They need to know what are the language needs and language requirements for teachers in the profession, in their individual capacity, in the classroom, in the school, and in the community. I feel the use of ClickUP is very important because it makes technology part of the course and part of their everyday lives. The outcomes of the course is to develop the skills of teaching through English as a medium of instruction, to apply language in the cognitive development of learners in their own learning areas, to identify and overcome communication barriers, and all the students must be able to show that they can communicate fluently in English and explain concepts in English, and these should be done through reading, writing, speaking, and listening. I came to the University of Pretoria from Vista University in 2004. I had to teach JTK 200. As a start, I was introduced to WebCT. The only thing that I had the courage to do was to put my study guide on the system and have that available for the students, which made it much cheaper because I didn't have to print out all the study guides. In 2005, I became a little bit more brave and I had a little bit more courage, and I uploaded my lecture notes as well with a lot of help. I attended several WebCT training courses which helped me a lot. I also tried out the chat room before exams. Often before the students were writing the exam, they could go onto a chat room and they could discuss problem areas in the exam with me. Unfortunately, because of my large numbers, 500 to 600 students, I think one or two only tried. And I was given the wonderful idea to use Group Manager so that the students could sign up for their CBT tests. Because in the past they had to book on hard copy lists that were outside my office, and when these lists were almost full, the students tended to steal them. So then I had to find another solution. That was a foolproof way for them to book for the test, and it was online and it was there and it was solid. In 2006, I went on with what I've been doing so far. I still had the study guide on WebCT. I had lecture notes on there. I used the Group Manager for the bookings of the CBT tests, and I added a quiz at the end of the year where students had to fill out a quiz on evaluating the course, which worked very well, except they could only get 0 or 10. I haven't figured out how to give them anything in between. I used the announcement tool very effectively because that was an excellent way to communicate with 500 to 600 students, and it came up as a pop-up on their WebCT. 2007 was a year of changes, and WebCT became ClickUP. I also for the first time introduced a community engagement project where students were sent out to tutor children or learners in the community, in disadvantaged communities. And here Group Manager was again the ideal way to manage these projects. Students had to sign up for a specific project on Group Manager, and I was able to know where every student of the 500 to 600 students were. Students had to, before they started the project, they had to do a PowerPoint presentation on what they think they were going to do. And then at the end of the year, they did another PowerPoint presentation where they reported what eventually happened. These PowerPoint presentations they also booked for on Group Manager, which was very effective, and I had little time slots in which they would come for their presentations. In 2008, I again implemented the community engagement project. I used Group Manager for the presentation bookings for the CBT tests. I used again the study guide, the lecture notes, and I tried to implement the discussion tool so that students could discuss their projects. So I opened little discussion blocks where they would be able to find group members for their groups, and I also started a chat room, what I call a coffee room, where they would just talk to each other, and I promised I wouldn't look. I have found students didn't use that as effectively as I thought they would, and I think the problem with that is that they were not assessed. As soon as they get marks for something, they do it. If they don't get marks for it and it's for their own purposes, they rather go to Facebook. So in general, I would say in 2008, I still mainly used the ClickUP for administrative purposes and to distribute information to students. I was able to put telephone numbers of project leaders onto the web for them to access, forms that I wanted them to take with, instructions on how to do the community projects and how to consult with people, and which is sometimes made it easy for them if they didn't attend class, because it was a repetition of what was said in class. But it was also good because they could go back to that. I could refer them back to the web, and they would be able to find the detail of the documents on that. 2009. Now I'm back after the holidays with lots of new ideas and ideologies and wonderful plans. What I would like to see happening this year is that there's more interaction, that I use ClickUP to enhance their language skills, reading, writing, speaking, listening, and not just administrative purposes. I want to see that the discussion tool is implemented more effectively. Estelle has shown me how to do the track changes on the discussion tool. So now I can force all the students to at least participate in discussions. Again, taking these projects as the basis for that. Then each project, all the students participating in one project then have to contribute at least one statement or posting on the discussion tool. So, and then I can check that and I can see how they did that and I can assess them on that. Also this year I'm going to introduce blogs, which I am still figuring out how to get onto ClickUp, where they have to paste blocks. They have to have 5 postings on each block, and in these blogs they will have to then explain how they did their project. The announcement tool is again proving very effectively this year. Any changes in bus schedules, any changes in days that we can't go to a project, I immediately put on ClickUp, and the students, before they go and try and find a bus or meet the bus, they can now check on the announcement tool if there are any changes in the project. What has worked also very effectively this year is I've opened a discussion posting for questions and answers, and students then answer each other's questions. Anything that they're not clear about, they post there, and any student who reads it can then answer. I've also now got student assistants who assist with that, and if the students themselves don't answer their own questions, then the student assistants can come in, and that saves a lot of time, and it helps just to clarify matters for students. I would like to just mention the benefits that I have found using ClickUp as a lecturer. What I realized this year when the students came into the class and I told them what to do and how to do it, I could see that I was more on their level, because they are very technologically orientated. So they immediately were more interested. They felt that I was more with it than they thought I would be, and they are able to immediately go, and they were immediately interested. That's in their fields of interest. So that to me was a huge benefit. The fact that I'm talking about blogs and Facebooks, and I'm so much older than they are, was surprising for them, and it made it easier for me to get through to them. I found that administratively it helps me a lot. It helps me with, for instance, Group Manager is still my favorite tool. It helps me a lot with the announcements as well, and getting through communicating with a large group of students. For me personally, that is a huge benefit. It helps the students in the sense that they can have access to lecture notes. They know what's going on. If they ask me anything that I've said in class, and I say go to ClickUp and go and look it up, see what we discussed in class, and I can always refer students back to that. I would like to learn a lot more, and I realize that it's a typical example of Mr. Mandela's lifelong learning. You've got to take baby steps, and you've got to just add something every time. I would really like to learn how to do rubrics on on WebCT so that when they come and do their PowerPoint presentations, that I'm able to grade them online and not on a hard copy as I do now, which they then throw away. Where it concerns my outcomes, it's also to me very, very important, because my outcomes are reading, writing, speaking, and listening of English, and especially the reading and the writing skills. By creating extra opportunities for students to communicate, because that's what the course is all about. It's about communication through the medium of English. I enhance those skills, which I can't do in the classroom with the numbers of students that I have. I can sit there and then half of the class won't open their mouth, they won't write anything in a whole lecture. And if I look at my course, which is 12 credits, which is 120 notional hours, I can include more hours for self-study by bringing in the discussion tool, by bringing in opportunities for them to go online, read things online, and have more practice in the skills that I want them to have practice in. They have to write, and there's a purpose to their writing. It's just not just getting them to write a paragraph in class. Even if they just write a question and an answer, there's a purpose to that, and it makes it authentic learning. It makes it more real life to them, and through that they are learning the skills that I want them to learn.
Good luck, Hanli. We wish you all the best for all your new discoveries that you will make.